Good morning. It is 9 a.m. on this Monday, May 11th. We are streaming through 9:30 this morning here on WGRZ Plus, and we're beginning with developing news. Still working to get some information from Buffalo police about this scene here. Yeah, we saw all of these police cars, more than a dozen, with their lights and sirens on, heading toward the 190 around 1 o'clock this morning. That's when this video was recorded. It happened in downtown Buffalo. This video is from Church Street. The officers are all heading to the 190. We don't know whether it was a police chase or what they were doing. We've reached out to Buffalo police. We're waiting to hear back, and we'll update you as soon as we learn more. Also developing this morning, there appears to be police activity on Fisher Street in Cheektowaga. Take a look at this scene. This was taken around 6 a.m. This video here. You can see police tape blocking off one of the homes there on the street. We did reach out to police for more information. Once again, we're waiting to hear back. We'll keep you updated as soon as we do learn more. 3 men are facing kidnapping charges after a woman and her 2 children were abducted Friday near Fairport in Monroe County, then later found safe at a home in Rochester. You might have gotten the Amber Alert about it on your phone on Saturday night. Well, investigators are now saying that the initial information indicated the abduction was targeted by another family member who intended to leave the area with them. Take a look at your screen. Gamil Ahmed, Omar Saleh, and Dajor Paul were all taken into custody for questioning, and now they've all been charged with second-degree kidnapping. Meanwhile, authorities are still searching for 26-year-old Omar Saleh. They say he was the subject of the Amber Alert that was issued on Saturday. Police are asking anyone with information to give them a call. This morning, we've got new details about a shooting that happened Friday night around 9:30 in Buffalo. This was the scene near East Ferry and Kilhofer Streets. That's where police say they found a man who had been shot in the arm and the leg. He was taken to ECMC. Around the same time, another man who had also been shot in the arm and the leg walked into the hospital. We are told that both of them are expected to be okay. And anyone with information about that shooting is being asked to call the Buffalo Police confidential tip line. The number's on your screen, 716-847-2255. And you can also call that number if you have any information about this shooting that happened downtown. It happened just after midnight Sunday near West Eagle Street and Delaware Avenue. Police say they found a woman with graze wounds to her back. She was treated at the scene, and we're also told a car was impounded as evidence. Well, a French company is closing its plant in Amherst and laying off nearly 200 employees. Armor EMAC plans to wind down operations at the plant on Commerce Drive over the next year. And in WARN notice, they said that the closure is set to begin at the end of July, and it'll phase out the plant by the end of next April. According to our partners at Buffalo Business First, back in 2022, the company invested around $40 million into the plant for new equipment, automation, and lighting. We're getting more details about a 6-hour standoff that left 3 Syracuse police officers hurt and a 55-year-old man facing a long list of serious charges. On Saturday morning, officers responded to a public housing complex in downtown Syracuse for reports of a man threatening people with a machete and even cutting a dog before barricading himself inside an apartment. Officers identified that man as Rodney Vanderpool. They tried executing a search warrant around 9:30, but Vanderpool allegedly began firing at them with a shotgun. 2 officers were hit in the arm, and a third was hit in the hand by a bullet that ricocheted. All of them are expected to be okay. Vanderpool is facing a number of charges now, including attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. The Buffalo Black Caucus hosted its annual meeting over the weekend. It's a space where the community can get together to talk about issues, and the event also gives vendors from local Black-owned businesses a chance to show off their brands and connect with the community. The Buffalo Black Caucus was started in response to the 5/14 shooting by Buffalo Common Council member Zanetta Everhart. Her son was shot but survived. She says it's a way to give back each year around the anniversary of the tragedy.
The lives that were taken from us were amazing lives. These were people who were taking care of their neighborhood and taking care of their community. And so this event is about that, taking care of the neighborhood and taking care of the community. And I want to make sure that we are remember 514 in a way where we are providing people with the resources that they need.
And the event now is in its 4th year. The anniversary of the 5/14 mass shooting is on Thursday. Well, if you're driving through Orchard Park today, listen up. Dewar Road will be closed between Armour Duels Road and California Road. It started at 7 o'clock this morning for construction. Officials say the closure will last about 8 weeks. Meanwhile, Armour Duels traffic is shifting south near the Dewar and Murphy Road intersection, with a lower speed limit in that area as well. So drivers should expect more delays and might want to consider alternate routes when possible. That's in your neck of the woods, Patrick. So you need to turn on your microphone, please.
I did turn it on.
Oh, now it's on. Yep, you're good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's my route, but now I will have to maybe adjust. Well, you can still get to the 219 from Armour Duels, I think, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, the Armour Duels there's a 219 exit with Armour Duels.
No, I know, but that won't be closed.
No, Armour Duels is open.
That will stay open, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha, okay. No, that's my route every morning. Well, do you ever, okay, I have a question for you. Do you ever drive a different way to work just to mix things up? Or do you go the same way every time?
I only switch things up during bad weather mornings.
Okay, smart.
Like
Gotcha.
Sometimes I might want to take, a regular road versus a highway.
Okay.
But I'm coming from Snyder, so my options are taking the 90 to the 33 or taking Harlem all the way up to the 33. And they're kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the
Gotcha.
other. I also switch them up depending on time of day and traffic when I'm like coming home or, you know, traffic is a big deal around the big blue water tower.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just in a Route 5 mood. I'm feeling
you
like
do the Skyway.
Yeah, I feel like I want some Skyway vibes maybe on the way home. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I think a 219 might taste a little better.
Depending on the wind, you might not want to take the Skyway.
It's funny. When I'm driving to work every morning, I'm like, if I go left, I go this way. If I go right, and it's totally two different experiences.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and the Skyway is so scenic. The 219 is so treacherous during bad weather.
Tell me about it.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Yes. And then sometimes you go all the way through South Buffalo that way. That takes forever, but it's sometimes a little more scenic and maybe the only way if there's too much rough weather. Okay. Just a question I had.
Okay.
We've got numbers in the 50s, tonight down into the 30s, so another frost is likely. And then tomorrow, sunshine, but increasing clouds. That will lead to some rain tomorrow evening and into tomorrow night. So more rain is coming. This week we have one wet day pretty much, and that's Wednesday. Thursday, maybe we'll have to see how quickly this system pushes out of here, but it should be mainly dry, but we may have a shower or two, a sprinkle on Thursday. Okay, as you can see, just a few clouds over Lake Ontario, and some showers may skirt through Wilson and Alcott, places like that. Here comes this next weather system we're watching, again, Tuesday night and into parts of Wednesday. We'll time it out with Future Look here a little bit better. Notice a nice day today, just some passing clouds at times, dry, low to mid 50s. Tonight, clear skies, calm winds, a perfect setup for frost. And that's what we'll likely see. Then tomorrow, sunshine, but clouds increase quickly, and that will lead to rain. This is like between 9:30 and 10:30. Rain pushes in, and it will be a wet Tuesday night, but it does appear that the heaviest rain will be moving through during the commute or just before the commute, hopefully. But then there still will be some scattered showers around on Wednesday. By no means a washout on Wednesday, but there will be some periods of wet weather, and then mainly dry at this point for Thursday outside of a quick shower. 53 today, down into the 30s tonight, so a frost is likely, a freeze for northern Pennsylvania, maybe even the New York side of the southern tier. 59 tomorrow in Warsaw, so close to 60. And there's that cool weather that is going to be here much of the week. When I say cool, we mean below average, but there are signs at change, okay? And that comes next week. A nice warming trend, not just here, but the whole weather pattern should just kind of flip on its head. And some of the warmth that's been out west will come our way, and we'll break this cool spring weather pattern. Rain showers on Wednesday, and then close to 70 on Sunday. I think we're in the mid 70s, at least early next week.
That looks nice. Actually, I will join you up on the roof. Remember when we started the show and I would join you and we'd start the show up on the roof?
It's very lonely up there. I could use the company.
I'm just waiting for it to possibly get above like 50 degrees maybe.
So we go out there in all kinds of weather, below zero, snowstorms, but you have to wait till it's...
I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not being forced to go up there.
I wouldn't want you up there in some of the brutal conditions up there. But we will welcome you with open arms because it's a, it's an exclusive place up there.
Should we set a temperature threshold and then we can break out the kiddie pool? The Adirondack chair?
Yes. The kiddie pool, I think you got to be at 80. The swim up bar opens at 85.
Oh my gosh, if we're waiting for 80, it'll be a long time before I join you up on the roof.
Yeah, you'll be up there next week.
Okay.
I think it's going to be warm enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we shall see. Patrick, thanks. Stay with us. We've got to talk about the Sabres. We'll do that right after the break. Welcome back. For the first time in this playoff series, the Sabres are trailing, or for the first time in the playoffs this year, the Sabres are trailing in a series, and it doesn't feel good, does it? What
Sabres team are we talking about? The one that was here from December on, or the team that showed up Friday and last night? That environment is very challenging to play in. That you saw the red and the towels and the energy I heard was insane.
Yeah, it looked incredible in there. But yeah, on Monday, no, not on Monday, on Wednesday, the first game of the series, the Sabres did look like the better team. And then
in fact, I remember, I think we were almost even looking ahead to our next potential opponent just because it seemed like, okay, this might not be as much of a
But I do also remember saying that on Thursday, after they had won on Wednesday, like game one is great to win, but game two is really going
where you
show who really is the better team, and that clearly was
right
the
now.
case.
Right is Montreal.
Right. So it was great to see that Tage Thompson finally scored again, though, and it was a great start to the game. But then everything after that was pretty much a mess. An ugly 6-2 loss in Montreal for game three. So for more on that loss from across the border, here's sports director John Scott.
The Sabres couldn't have asked for a better start to Game 3. Tage Thompson following up that disastrous Game 2 performance with a goal in under a minute to start this game. But from that point forward, Montreal clear and away the better team. They were unrelenting, even as Alex Lyon was making unbelievable saves. Ultimately, they pushed 1, 2, 3, and on and on and on it goes past him, leading up to a 6-2 loss here in Game 3, giving the Canadiens a 2-1 series lead.
We were breaking a couple pucks out, and we made some ill-advised plays, some bad decisions that we haven't been making. So Montreal's a good team. They made us pay. They made us pay for our mistakes.
We got a little too emotional tonight too. We talk about it all the time, just staying even keeler, highs and lows. Just try to stay right in the middle. And I thought tonight we really let our emotions kind of get the better of us. So just gotta regroup, and it's a long series and not in the spot we want to be, but we got an opportunity to take one from them next game.
It's our job now to be able to get it out of our system and be ready to play in the next game. So they've won 2, and they have some momentum, and they've played well the last both of the last games. But you know what, we haven't played our best game in the series, and so we have to focus on bringing that next game.
Sabres set to practice later on today, gearing up for a very critical Game 4 Tuesday night, right back here inside the Bell Center. From Montreal, John Scott, Channel 2 Sports.
I don't claim to know much about what's going on the ice. I just watch it and try to understand it. But it was just. But even I felt like during the power play, Montreal was just toying with us. Like hit it here, hit it in.
They just look sloppy too. I think that you could even see that. That they're just falling all over themselves. Their passes aren't connecting. They're not making great decisions. There are a lot of penalties. Nothing was coming together. They weren't clicking, and it really did kind of remind me of what they were in October, November, and December.
It resembled that team.
But maybe it's because the Canadiens are also so good that even a good team like the Sabres don't look that great because they're compared.
Yeah, but we beat them. We beat them in Montreal this season.
I know.
And the Sabres have had some stinkers this year, and they've responded heroically.
Yeah,
let's
they've
hope
made some
that
big
this is the
comebacks.
case.
Yes. So Game 4 is tomorrow in Montreal, and then Game 5 is back here on Thursday, and then
Okay.
Game 6 would be out in Montreal, and that's when there would be the party at KeyBank Center. By the way, the watch party. If you want to go to that, that's $5. They haven't said anything about tickets yet for that, but we're hoping that there is a Game 6. Possibly a Game 7, which would be here for the home ice advantage. And that would be huge.
If Game 6 happens to be an elimination game, which I guess would have to be for the Sabres, it could be an elimination game for them. Would it be as crowded? Like, what happens if it's an elimination game just for Montreal?
Are you talking about the watch party?
The watch party, I'm sorry. Yeah, the watch party. Do you think that'll adjust? Like, if it could be an elimination game for the Sabres, will that temper sales a little bit? Like, do people want to be... I don't know.
I don't know. We've never really packed a KeyBank Center for a playoff away game. So, but I do remember there were some playoff games that folks went to the Bison Stadium. It wasn't Salem Field at the time. I think it was Dunn Tire Park. Mm-hmm. And so they packed that for some playoff games.
Oh, they did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, I certainly would want to go to Game 6 and pay the $5 and just be surrounded by fans. Now you're going to pay quite a bit more if you're adding beer and parking and everything onto it. So
everything though about like when the broadcast started and that guy came out with the torch. Did you see that part? Mm-hmm. It just looked intimidating. It looked like you were going into the field of battle. Yeah. You had this guy that looked like Adonis walking out with the torch, this big theatrical sound, and the crowd is going. You're just like, I was like.
And we just have a guy banging a drum. Let's go, Buffalo.
It was the grandest, like, welcome to the kingdom. You know, it was like, get me out of here. It just.
Maybe something about the red and the black.
The red. You know what it reminded me of? I know have you seen Rocky IV? There's a scene where Rocky Balboa enters to play Drago in Moscow in Russia. And the crowd, it's all red.
Oh, okay.
Russian red. And it's all, or Soviet Union red. And the crowd is just all anti-Rocky, and he's just like, when is this going to be over? It had those vibes, if anybody's seen it.
You know what is interesting? Because KeyBank is certainly electric with Sabres fans, but it does seem like a brighter kind of energy.
Yes,
where that was a dark energy. Like, you should be scared to play here, where the Sabres were like, we're so happy we're here.
It was like
a light energy.
Darth Maul from Star Wars. It was just like the darkest, the worst villain was there.
Okay, one more thing. Watching these games, the games in Montreal, there's so much red that doesn't your eye go immediately to the crowd of someone who's not wearing red? Like a woman in bright green. Like, why are you wearing green?
Right.
Like, even if you don't have a jersey, at least find some sort of red in your wardrobe.
Right. Which doesn't... were there any Sabres fans there, do you think?
I didn't see any.
Because when they came here, there were quite a few. There were a couple thousand, maybe.
Yeah, I think they were saying up like 10% is what they were
here.
So 10% of 19,000 would be almost 2,000.
Right.
So,
but there was.
But I don't think that there were 2,000 Sabres fans there.
Or if they were wearing the wrong color.
Right. Maybe green.
Or green.
So that they're not sticking out.
Can you imagine?
Maybe that's it. Maybe the people who weren't in red were actually Sabres fans who were too afraid to wear Sabres jerseys.
Can you imagine walking in there with like your soft drink? Hi.
Although, for the most part, I think here we treat the opposing visitors with, I don't know, not with venom.
There was a posting by a former employee here. Remember, was it Julianne Pelosi?
Yes.
She was there, and she was surrounded by. Was she
here?
Oh no, she was here, and she sat amongst Canadian fans. So that just showed her like the seats that she bought. She didn't realize she was in the Montreal section.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, but imagine being a guest of that arena as an opposing. Celebrant. I can't imagine.
I know. I don't know of anyone either that has gone to Montreal to watch it, that went to the Montreal game yesterday to watch it.
Right. Man, it's pressure is on for tomorrow night. Man alive. Holy cow. Because you don't want this season that was so glorious. I don't want it to, these are bad vibes. I don't mean to spread them, but if it goes out like this, it's like it can't.
No, but I'm in the mind frame of I'm just glad we're here.
Right.
Like if we have another game like we've had the last 2 games, I don't think the Sabres are going to make it much further than this. They're not going to do well against Carolina.
Carolina.
Oh my God.
Haven't lost a game.
Right. I mean, we need to see the Sabres that were dominant, or else they're not going to hold a candle to Carolina. So anyway, I'm kind of mentally preparing myself for this was fun while it lasted, and let's just enjoy it. But
this isn't enjoyable, right? I just want them
losing never is.
But if they lose, you want to lose at least like it was a close game or it was an overtime. You know, if you lose, get blown out.
Also to take these losses than like an NFL playoff loss.
100%.
Where it's one game and it might be a bad call or a bad catch or.
And we're all in therapy
for
weeks because we're so down. This one, at least, okay, we can.
Yeah,
we got another game.
we had some fun and they gave it their all. So, yeah. But I mean, if you would have said, are the Sabres going to be in the playoffs back in November, you'd say, no, I would just take a first round and be happy about it. Thanks for this. Thanks for the ride. It's not over yet, and hopefully they can turn things around. We're only down 1 game, and there's a lot of hockey left. It is a marathon, not a sprint.
As I heard someone say, speaking of rides, this is like a wooden roller coaster off the tracks right now.
No.
That's the kind of ride this last game represented.
It hurts. It really hurts. All right, we'll be right back. That's funny. Welcome back. Buffalo's biggest celebration of creativity is gearing up for 2026.
That looks lovely. Wow. Music is art or music is getting drop kicked.
I'm trying to figure out how
that ties in.
Yeah, but I'm sure that Robbie could tell us. Music is Art founder and Goo Goo Dolls bassist Robbie Takak will unveil plans for the 24th annual Music is Art Festival and this year's official festival poster. The date has not been announced yet, but today's announcement is at 11 a.m. out at Terminal B on the waterfront. So that's when we should figure out what the date is. Typically, it's like end of September-ish, mid-September. I've actually never been to Music is Art, but I love Robbie Takak for being so connected still to Buffalo. He's always here. He donates so much money through the Music is Art Foundation, and he's just such a part of this community. I was at Wegmans, and there's Robbie in his purple hair just shopping. And it's like, hey, I don't know. I'm still starstruck.
Totally.
Growing up here in Western New York, and the Goo Goo Dolls were so big in the 90s and the 2000s, and Better Days is the anthem of the Sabres.
Use that now, right?
Yeah.
But no, that was in the 2006-07 season when that song really was the anthem.
And Iris, when I was in high school, which now has also made a revival with some online videos and memes, and so it's so great to see how they are, our hometown band. And
Absolutely.
And Music is Art.
And this is how many years Music is Art?
Oh, I don't know. I just,
8 or 9?
Long time. Oh, I think even longer than that.
Longer than that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Anyway, something else that we are looking forward to is Bison's homestand. And that is Nurses Appreciation Night is tomorrow, which is the first day of the homestand. Yeah. We just had Teacher Appreciation Week, and this is Nurses Appreciation Week and Nurses Appreciation Night at Salem Field tomorrow. So nurses and nursing students can claim up to 4 free tickets for the 6:05 game against Worcester by showing a valid ID at the box office. The night will feature special recognition celebrating local nurses during National Nurses Week. No one at these games because it's been so cold, and this week will be a little bit better, but some fun days and giveaways. Tomorrow is one of the most nurses. Then Wednesday is one of the cutest days of the year, which is the dog days at the park. And so you can bring your dog with you. There's a couple of those during the summer. Then Thursday is race night, and it's the fastest fireworks show of the season. I don't know if it's fast because it's only 30 seconds long or fast because the fireworks are fast. I have no idea.
Or maybe they just kind of speed it up. Let's get this.
But then the 15th is America's 250th celebration, the largest fireworks show of this season, which used to be on July 3rd. They always had their July 3rd game with the Philharmonic. That's not happening this year, and so this is going to be their big fireworks night, and that's going to be on Friday. So hopefully the weather will be good for that.
Friday looks good.
And that will not, there would not be a Sabres game on Friday, right? Tuesday, Thursday, right.
Tuesday, right.
Right, so then Fridays, that's good for the Bisons. And then Saturday is a 1:05 game, free tickets for veterans and active duty, and also free tickets for veterans and active duty military also on Sunday. So lots of good things to look forward to. And I love 1 o'clock baseball games.
Me too.
When the weather's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, attendance has to have been strong. I mean, we're now turning the corner. This is when we can really get out and enjoy.
And we might
the
be
boys
close
of summer.
to 80 next
week. It's going to warm up. Yeah, I mean, not officially yet, but I think we could get close to 80.
Okay.
Haven't been there yet.
Got to get there sooner or later. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And the news continues, as always, at WGRZ.com. And we'll see you back here tomorrow from 4:30 to 9:30 on Daybreak.